From London. According to official data released by the Office for National Statistics, Britain's unemployment rate has hit its lowest level since 1974 at 3.6%. The data also reveals that workers' pay is continuing to fall behind sky-high inflation due to the deepening cost of living crisis. British transport bosses have confirmed that extra train services will be running for people travelling to the capital to pay their final respects to the Queen. The late monarch will be lying in state at Westminster Hall for 5 days, from 5 p.m. tomorrow until 6 a.m. on Monday, the 19th of September, the day of her funeral. Officials are warning passengers to expect crowded services and congested stations, adding that drivers should avoid the area. Over 1 million people are expected to make the journey. Pakistan has once again appealed for a huge international response to the flooding that has left at least 1,280 people dead. According to initial government estimates, the extreme weather has caused £8.7 billion in damage. According to the international disaster relief charity Shelterbox, the global climate crisis could displace 200 million people over the next 20 years. Earlier, I spoke to Kitty Sadler, Shelterbox's emergency coordinator, for an update on their relief efforts.
With so much attention on other crises around the world and resources being fewer, it's deeply, deeply concerning the amount of interest that Pakistan is getting, but also the amount of fundraising and support from the wider public. At Shelterbox, we are pushing to keep Pakistan flooding in the limelight, to make sure there is global awareness about how devastating it really has been, and even to reflect back on the 2010 flooding in Pakistan, which we know had really, really devastating impacts for many months. And we know that the flooding currently is likely to have a greater impact than that. So, as you said, it's going to take time, it's going to take money, and a huge amount of humanitarian effort and global awareness to keep the lives of those Pakistani people who have been affected by the flooding at the centre of our hearts and our kind of awareness. You mentioned often the most vulnerable are the remotest, or the communities which are the hardest to reach, and particularly in flooding settings that is exacerbated. So some communities may be cut off from water or food or other kind of basic services for many days, if not weeks or months. What has been reassuring is how all the efforts have been pulling together. So both the humanitarian sector and the public sector have come together. It's what our team are reporting on the ground, that the efforts to provide that disaster relief service is great. And what we hope is that it can continue for the coming months, as we're not expecting the water to dissipate overnight. It's likely to stay there for the coming months.
Those are your main stories from London at close of business.